Hey kids, it is episode 234 of the Cosmic Geppetto Podcast. Scott Carelli returns for part 2 of our annual summer movie talk. A lot of fun discussing the big movies coming out in the next few months. Some for the second time. Pandemic sucks. Anywho, Heather and Youth Correspondent Ellen Moyle share their opinions of WandaVision.
Hi, this is Heather. I know it's been a while. I'm here to talk with our youth correspondent, Ellen Dorothy, about WandaVision and get a new perspective. Hi, Ellen.
Hi.
Give me your first thoughts on WandaVision.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was really exciting, and I was very invested in it after the first episode.
Did you like the old time style of each different show from the old days? Do you know what I'm talking about? It started out maybe Lucy style, went to Family Ties, just different old style TV shows.
Yeah, I did like it. I don't think I understood it quite as much as my parents, who were connecting it to the shows as we were watching it, but I didn't do it. Yeah.
Well, it was funny because I didn't know all of them. Brad had to help me with some of the TV shows. I knew a couple of them, not all of them. What was your favorite episode?
Probably the one where Darcy was with Vision and Pietro was there. I don't remember which one it was.
Oh, her brother. Okay.
Yeah, I liked the ones with her brother in it.
What was your least favorite?
Oh gosh, it's hard questions. My least favorite was probably... I'm very wrong. My favorite episode was the one where we figure out it was number 7, when we kind of figured out that Agatha was behind everything. And then my least favorite one was the one after that, where we went through all the backstory stuff, because it just made me very sad.
It was very sad. That last episode was very, very sad. I felt sorry for Wanda.
I know, I did too.
Were you surprised that Agnes was the evil character? Or did you see it being somebody else, maybe her brother or something?
Yeah, I didn't. I was surprised that it was Agnes, but I definitely didn't think it was just Wanda the whole time.
Yeah, I was kind of whoa, I didn't see that coming. I thought maybe it would be maybe one of the other people in the neighborhood, but I didn't see it being Agnes.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite character?
Darcy. Darcy's my favorite character.
Did you like her in the Thor movies?
I did like her in the Thor movies. I liked her better in this format, though.
Oh, so you liked her in the WandaVision better than in the movies?
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen all the Thor movies, so I can't... Brad can help in that department. Brad, you might want to jump in on the Thor. I haven't seen all the Thor movies.
I like that actress. I like Kat Dennings. She didn't have a lot to do in the Thor movies. They definitely gave her a lot more to do in WandaVision. What's nice is the character had grown. When we last saw her, she was Jane's assistant, and now she's a doctor and an expert on her own. So she's getting called in. She's not going along to help someone who's called in. So I like that. I liked her in WandaVision very much.
Yeah, I felt very similar. I liked kind of watching the growth since the Thor movies.
I liked Monica and I liked Wanda. Those were my two favorites. I liked Wanda. I just thought, I liked the actress. I just thought the way she played it was really well. I liked how she played her part in each episode. I don't know, I just really liked her. And Monica is just such a strong character. And I remember her from Captain Marvel, and I liked her as a little girl in that movie. And just to see how much she's grown since Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I liked the tie-in at the end back into Captain Marvel at the end of the finale. I thought it was genius the way they brought it all back together.
Yeah, because it was I told Brad it was neat seeing her as a kid and then seeing her all grown up and where she's come since then. Even getting past losing her mom and all that, it was nice. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool how they showed the growth in the character, and you can definitely kind of see in the way that she interacts with this how her relationship with her mom and with Captain Marvel has impacted her as a person. And I think the actress did a really good job of showing that.
How did you like Wanda and Vision before WandaVision? In the other movies? How did you like them in the other movies?
Oh, I liked them in the other movie too. I really liked the two of them. They're great characters and their actors are great, and I liked their relationship. So this was just exciting to kind of get to see it again since, the Endgame and then everything was over. So getting to see them come back and finish the story was nice.
So I just rewatched the first, 4 episodes. Do you have any opinions on how it started versus how it ended? I liked, not that I didn't like the ending, but I sort of liked the sitcom-y beginning.
I did. I liked the beginning. I remember watching it, the first episode, and I was very confused by it. because it was very like un-Marvel-esque,
Oh yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was.
very different everything else they put out. So I was very confused. And then the second episode then started to bring things in. And I was like, oh, it was a very cool way to kind of move the story along.
Yeah, because I told my husband, I was like, so is it just a bunch of sitcoms with Marvel characters? Like, I didn't know either when I first started. I was like, is it going to get more Marvel-y, or is this how the whole thing's going to go? I didn't know where it was going to end up. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, is this just how it's going to be the whole time, or is it going to get more action-y and exciting like most Marvel movies do?
Yeah.
What do you want to see in the next Wanda and Vision? What do you want to see them do next? Do you want to see them do a movie? Would you want them to continue more like this WandaVision style type thing?
I mean, I like this WandaVision style, but I think I do want to see Wanda like come back and do the movies and kind of see how she takes on her role as like an Avenger now that she's been through this and she's processing this grief, especially with the way they ended the last episode. It's going to be a very different dynamic when she comes back into the movies.
Now, what about like Monica and Darcy? What about them? Where do you want to see them?
I mean, I definitely want to see the two of them like be bigger roles in the films because I mean, I love both of their characters. I think it would be so cool to kind of see Darcy take over kind of like Jane's legacy as like the scientist of the group. And I think Monica's definitely going to become an Avenger at some point.
I would like to see her work together again with Captain Marvel, but as an adult, not as a little girl. Like, that would be awesome.
That would be, yeah.
Captain Marvel 2, but with Monica. Like them fighting together, or maybe them fighting together with the Avengers or something. Do you think they should do more WandaVision?
No, I think where they ended it, they kind of closed the story very nicely. They kind of tied up all the loose ends. So I think making another season of that probably wouldn't work very well.
I was going to say, I was going to ask you if you thought they should do that with any other characters, that style of show. Or you think it was good just the way they did it and not try it with any other characters?
No, I think it worked very well for these two characters, but I don't think it would make much sense with anybody else. Because I mean, there are not a lot of characters other than Wanda that could create an entire force field around a town and mind control a bunch of people.
Yeah, because she's Scarlet Witch and she's very powerful. So yeah, there's not too many that can do that.
Yeah.
So you said you watched the first Falcon and Winter Soldier. How is it different?
It's definitely a lot more like action right off the bat, and the storylines, they start on very different stories, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they kind of bring all these stories back together. I thought it was so good. I love the characters, so I was so excited for this one.
Yeah, Brett has to get me to watch it. I haven't watched the first one yet. He already has. I'm like, you didn't wait for me, man. I want to see it. Who do you think's going to be the bad guy in the Winter Soldier?
Oh gosh. Well, they already introduced like the terrorist organization, but I don't really know. It's gonna be quite. I mean, from the trailers, I thought it was like Sharon, but we're gonna have to see.
So you're not quite sure yet where they're going with it.
I'm not sure yet. Yeah, no.
That's what I like about these Marvel movies is you don't, even with WandaVision, you don't quite know where they're going. They keep you in suspense. Like, you just really don't know. You don't see it coming till it's like with Agnes, you totally didn't see it coming. So they keep it well hidden till they want it out. Like there's no hints. They keep it close to the vest until they're ready. And I like that. It keeps you in suspense the whole time. It keeps you interested.
Yeah, definitely.
Favorite WandaVision theme song?
It was Agatha all along. That was my favorite. I don't know why. It was stuck in my head for like 4 days afterwards.
I'm like, there's so many songs that they played in that. I'm like, which one is she talking about? Sorry. What else have you been up to lately? Have you been watching anything else?
Not really, but we're going back to we're in like hybrid school right now. So I've actually been going into school, which has been nice, and we finally started our indoor color guard season 3 months after we were supposed to. But we go back into like everybody's in school on the 6th, so that's going to be exciting.
Our kids went back full time. They were hybrid up until the 8th of this month. They went back the 8th full time. So they've been full time for about a week, a little over a week. And they love it. They're very excited to be back. They're playing soccer now. Like, things are getting back to normal.
Yeah.
Oh, have you watched the new Justice League at all?
There's a new one?
There is a new one. A friend of mine's watching it.
I did not know that.
It's the same movie, but they re-edited it with the original director.
I did not know that.
It's on HBO Max. I don't know if you guys have it, but if you have it, it's highly recommended by Brad and my friend Natalie.
Alright, I'll have to try and talk my dad into getting that for us.
Don't make me the bad influence on that one. Do not tell your dad that one. It's been great talking with you, Ellen. We'll have to do this again when they come out with or maybe we could talk more about the Falcon and Winter Soldier when we all get it finished.
Sure.
Anything else you want to put out there about WandaVision or the Winter Soldier or anything you want?
I mean, if people haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. It was very, very good.
July 2nd, Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise. Val Kilmer is going to be in it somehow, but boy, Val Kilmer is in such bad shape.
Yeah, he really, really is.
It's sad.
Yeah.
The movie's going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't like the first Top Gun at all. I mean, it's propaganda at its best, and like a bad movie at its worst. I don't know. I have no nostalgia for it though. I know a lot of people really do. I just don't think the first movie is good at all. I don't think that Joseph Kosinski is a particularly interesting director. He did Tron Legacy, which was fine. And he did that other Oblivion movie, which was fine, just aggressively fine.
He's just one of those directors that's going to get the movie done and under budget and on time.
Yep. And then the fact that one of the writers on this movie is Aaron Kruger gives me pause, because I truly believe he's one of the worst screenwriters working in Hollywood right now.
What else has he done?
Oh man. First off, he wrecked Scream 3. So he took over the reins on Scream 3, which is the worst Scream. He wrote Rings, which was and the Ring 2, Skeleton Key, Brothers Grimm, Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen. That's the one with the robot heaven. Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, the Ring reboot. He wrote Ghost in the Shell. He wrote Dumbo. He's not a good writer at all.
So Scott, there's something that you said to me, again, probably one of the first or second. You and I have known each other for a while now.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just recently re-listened to an old episode of this podcast. I was like, oh my God, this podcast was on before Trump was president. I've been doing this for a while. And one of the first times you were on, you said to be a successful screenwriter in Hollywood, you need to be two of three things. You need to be good, nice, or fast. So that guy must be fast and nice, right?
Yeah, that's the only explanation.
Also, Mo, every time I hear that somebody worked on a screenwriter for a Transformers movie, every time I hear that, I was like, somebody wrote those movies?
Yeah, I know, right? It sure doesn't seem like it.
People have this nostalgia for Top Gun, and Top Gun was a great movie because for people who just got really great sound systems, and that movie came out on VHS when there was a real big thing of getting cool sound systems because it sounded great, the jets flying by. But really, it was just a thing of Tom Cruise was at his absolute peak because it was after Risky Business, and all of a sudden everyone fell in love with him. It was one of those movies where he was so white hot as an A-list star. He could have done any piece of crap movie and it would have been huge. And we don't have A-list stars like that anymore.
That is true.
Even The Rock, I guess, is the closest we have. If it's a bad movie or if it doesn't have a good trailer, people still will wait for it to come out on Blu-ray.
Right.
But the movie itself, jet fighter action scenes, I don't find them engaging at all.
No, I don't either. I mean, I guess it's interesting that they're shooting them flying, it's going to be real planes. I guess that's interesting from a Mission Impossible kind of standpoint. But the fact that this movie has 5 credited writers, that just tells you that this thing's going to be a mess. I mean, granted, the last writer credited is Christopher McQuarrie, who's a great writer, but he's also Tom Cruise's fixer, and he couldn't fix The Mummy despite doing rewrites on that. So he can't fix every bomb. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be, and the fact that it's opening July 2nd, I mean, this is just going to be a propaganda film, I think. I'm not into that at all. I don't know. Unless people say that it rules, I don't think I'll end up seeing this because I just don't care about Top Gun at all.
The following week, July 9th, Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
All I want from this movie is, I think Florence Pugh, if I'm pronouncing it right, I think she's a delight.
Yes.
And I hope her being associated with this movie makes her an A-list star. And she's on her way. Everyone, I think, respects her ability and her talent. I think she's great. That's what I wish would happen with Marvel movies. And it sometimes does happen with Marvel movies. It's like you star in one of these movies and they're genre pictures and they make a ton of money. And you hope that, okay, if you do this movie, then it's great. And then you get to make interesting, cool stuff and you get to do you become an A-lister. It's happened with Chris Hemsworth to a decent degree.
Sure.
Chris Evans has been able to do some cool stuff, and the Russo brothers have been able to do some neat movies aside from it.
Karen Gillan.
Yeah. And I want that to happen for her because that's a great reason to be in this movie. And the stuff I've seen from her in the trailer looks great. But as I referenced earlier, it felt 5 years too late last year.
Yeah.
It feels the same now, unless there's something really cool in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm in full agreement. I'm sure that the movie's going to be at least like a probably a B plus, like most Marvel movies. I'm sure that it's going to be a fun watch. But yeah, absolutely. It feels like it's coming way too late, but I am excited about, I really hope that they show, spoilers for Endgame, I really hope they show Black Widow's funeral in this, because it is kind of BS that Tony got a funeral and she didn't. So I do hope that she gets a proper send off in this movie. And I hope that, I mean, my understanding is that Florence Pugh is going to become the new Black Widow. And I believe she's playing Black Widow in the Hawkeye TV series, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So hopefully, she continues on this, and maybe we get more Black Widow movies with Florence Pugh as the lead. That would be cool.
Marvel's really good at, to use baseball parlance, Marvel's really good at hitting doubles. They don't always hit a home run because sometimes making that big swing for the fence is daring, and Marvel isn't always daring. But I can't remember. I don't really think there's been a bad Marvel movie. I mean,
I can think of two, but
I want to hear it. What do you think of the bad Marvel movies?
Thor: The Dark World and Iron Man 2. I think those are both like actively bad movies. I think they have good stuff in it. I think the Thor and Loki stuff in the Dark World is good. Thor hanging Mjolnir on the coat rack is one of the greatest moments in all of the Marvel universe. But and we got Meow Meow out of that, which is also good. But outside of those three things, I think that movie sucks. I think it's really like aggressively bad. And then I think Iron Man 2, total waste of Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell could have been one of our, like, I mean, there's a million other roles that he could have played that he would have just knocked out of the park. And instead he has to play,
he has to play second fiddle to, he's a second fiddle bad guy to one of the worst bad guy performances in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And the difference between Iron Man and Iron Man 2 is that Iron Man had a script. With that script that was solid, a really solid foundation, they improvised within each scene, but kept the story structure intact. And then they went to make the second one and they barely wrote a script. And then they were like, yeah, but we improvised the whole movie last time, right? And then they made the movie and realized that, like, oh, right, we had a foundation before. We're just floating in space with this one. And I think that the movie suffers as a result.
I'm with you. Thor Dark World. There are scenes I love so much. The scene I always go back to was when he basically gets teleported and he's on in the tube, and the woman pretends to be jostled and like basically cops a feel on Thor. And I love that scene so much because the recognition is like, oh, okay, yeah, people want to be around Thor.
Sure.
But yeah, it was dreary in so many places.
Yeah, the tone was all over the place in Thor: The Dark World. An inconsistent tone really, I don't know, it really bothers me. It bugs me big time.
Following week, a sequel that people, for some reason, are excited about. Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Yeah, I love the first Space Jam when I was a kid. I saw it when it first came out in like 96. I didn't like it as much as my little brothers liked it, who were under, 8 years old. I think they were 6 and 4 respectively at the time, and they loved it and they watched it way more than I ever did. My feeling is that this is a big budget children's film. It is corporate propaganda, absolutely, in a very similar fashion to Ready Player One. But my feeling is like people are like, oh wow, this doesn't look good, and it's like, did you really expect a Space Jam sequel to look good? Did you think Space Jam was good? Because it's not.
People forget how bad that movie was, and nobody liked it when it came out. Unless you're right, the kids liked it because there's Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't even think the kids liked it because of Bugs Bunny. They liked it because of Michael Jordan. That's the thing. It's like the movie is exactly what it's supposed to be. And the thing that I respect about it, this is a movie with a black director, black writers, black producers. It's like mostly black people behind the scenes making it. They're allowed to make bad kids movies too. That's the thing that I find so special about this, is just like it's like, wow, I don't know that I've ever seen a kids movie made by all black creators. That's really cool. So is this a movie for me? Am I going to enjoy this movie? No. I'll probably watch it because it's on HBO Max, so like, why not? I'll throw it on while I'm doing something else. But it's not a movie that I'm excited to see, and I think it's silly to be disappointed by this movie. I think it's insane that that's the part of it that I actually respect, I think, the most, is like they were insane enough to put like the gang from Clockwork Orange in the background of the game, stuff like that, where it's just like, what are those characters doing in a kids movie? I don't know. Kids aren't going to know who they are, so it's like, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But like I get a kick out of it because it's just like, wow, you really put the gang of the gang from Clockwork Orange in your Space Jam movie. That is a bold choice.
It would almost have like a bit of Roger Rabbit energy, but Roger Rabbit was a really good movie.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the difference. I don't think this is trying to be a really good movie. I think this is trying to be a sequel to Space Jam. I think they nailed that. It looks like a Space Jam movie. It looks like what the original one was to today. Yeah, fine, good for them. I'm glad everybody got to make this.
Do you remember how the whole Space Jam thing started?
Oh, I've heard this story before, but I can't remember it offhand. What was it?
There was an awesome, I think it was a Nike ad.
Oh, right. Yes.
And I think it might have been a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah.
With Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. And it was a great ad because it was short. And I actually had a calendar made from that ad because I'm a huge Bugs Bunny fan. Then they did it a second time. And it was really funny. And then they made the movie. And one of the problems was Michael Jordan was so immensely, ridiculously popular at that time.
Yeah.
But it turns out he's a lousy actor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know what anyone expected. He's not an actor.
No, he's not an actor, but he had some presence and charisma that was great for a 30 or 45 or a minute long ad.
Right. Sure.
They actually got the director of the original ad to do the movie, and it's like, oh, this is a completely different beast.
At least LeBron James seems to be at least a mildly better actor than Michael Jordan. I guess there's that. I mean, my feeling is just like, I like that I do like that they're making this movie, and that the people who are making it are the ones who are making it, and that they're not making it because Warner Brothers asked for it. They're making it because they asked Warner Brothers to make it.
It's a completely harmless movie.
Right. Exactly. It's completely harmless. Let the people enjoy their Space Jam. It's fine. That's fine. And you know what? The origin story of Space Jam, very similar to the origin story of Ted Lasso. So never say never when it comes to making stuff based on commercials.
The same day, and this is a movie that's getting zero buzz so far, and it's in July, so that's not really unexpected, but the movie Dog is coming out. Starring and co-directed by Channing Tatum.
It's like a spin-off from Jupiter Ascending?
No. What was his plot? He's an Army Ranger.
So not playing a dog in this one.
Not playing a dog. Surprisingly enough. And then not dipping into that well again. This is Channing Tatum's first live-action movie since Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Holy crap, really? Wow.
He did Smallfoot. He was an animated movie where he did a voice. And he was Superman in the second Lego movie.
Using his iconic voice, the iconic voice of Channing Tatum.
Yeah, that's what you think of his great voice acting.
Oh my God, I hate the way that animated movies cast now. Why would anyone put Channing Tatum as a voice actor in anything? Robin Williams, I get. Outside of guys like him, like why would you, like Kevin Hart, I get. Like Kevin Hart has a iconic voice, but like, yeah, when you start putting people like Channing Tatum as like voice actors, it's like, why? What are you doing?
I know, and I like Channing Tatum for a lot of things because good dancer, good looking guy, has screen presence, and he has a good sense of humor about himself.
Yeah. I don't know what this is. I've never heard of it.
Good for him for directing. I think he got a little screwed up. I think he was really all in for that Gambit movie that got blowed up by Fox getting bought out and also the X-Men movies sort of tanking. But it's just fun. And I think he also, I know he got involved with an alcohol brand.
Yeah, they all are, right? Everybody is.
He was actually did like a wine event not too far from where I live. All the women in the area were like, hey, we're going to go stand in line for 3 hours to get his autograph. It's like, what the hell is happening? But then I remember I have a signed empty bottle of Crystal Skull vodka and by Dan Aykroyd. I was like, I guess I should shut up.
Yes, you should.
And again, I just talked about how I just finished off my Aviator gin. So it works. These guys make a lot of money off of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But I'm interested in if there's going to be more from him because it's just weird when someone that popular who can get their own movies made just doesn't do a movie for 4 years.
Yeah, that is very strange. Development hell.
The 23rd of July, M. Night Shyamalan's back with Old.
Yeah. What if getting old was scary? He made the whole movie during COVID. The cast that you see listed is like the entire cast. And they all just like went to a beach, like a beach house, quarantined for 2 weeks, and then made this movie on this beach. My understanding is that the entire movie is on this beach. I like the idea of M. Night Shyamalan making a very low budget, very focused, twisty horror movie again. I think that's what he needs. I think he's been sort of finding himself again since After Earth. I think that was his like the biggest flop he ever did was After Earth. Speaking of Will Smith.
Last Airbender and After Earth, that's a pretty rough 1-2 punch.
Yeah, that's director jail worthy 1-2 punch. Which is I think why he went to found footage after that, and then his low key Unbreakable sequel, and then his not low key Unbreakable sequel. Yeah, so I mean he went from super low budget to low budget sequels, and now he's back to just like a low budget original film. I'm looking forward to it. I like Servant a lot on Apple TV. You know, it's not like the best show, but it's very entertaining, and I like watching a thriller that's only 30 minutes. I think that's I've never seen anything quite like it before, so I think that's kind of fun. I like his vibe. I like the way his movies look and feel. It reminds me a lot of like just getting having a band that you like a lot and then getting like a few albums that you're like, ooh, that was the wrong move, and then they like come out with a album of like, okay, we're going back to basics, and you're like, yeah, okay, cool. I don't expect this movie to reinvent the wheel or anything, but I'm looking forward to it. I always look forward to M. Night Shyamalan because even his bad movies tend to be bad in an interesting way.
Yeah, they're interesting failures. He's not just making, the same sort of movie, but blander.
Right.
It's been brought up 1,000 times. Sixth Sense was such a huge success, And was it Time Magazine, I think it was, had a cover story calling him the next Spielberg. And we've understood that's never who he's going to be.
No, he's way too specific to be Spielberg. Spielberg is very broad. Yeah, he only makes kind of one kind of movie. That's the thing. Spielberg was never guilty of that. That's for sure.
Following week, Jungle Cruise.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. It's got a script from Michael Green. Michael Green is a really good writer. He wrote Logan, Blade Runner 2049, Murder on the Orient Express, which isn't like a great movie, but it's a solid double. It's like a good like Sunday matinee kind of movie. I expect this to be solid. I'm hoping for Brendan Fraser Mummy vibes. If I get that from this, I will be very happy.
You just reminded me talking about the Murder in the Orient Express. The sequel to that's coming out.
That's they pushed that to 2022. I assume they're mulling over possibly doing reshoots to remove the cannibal.
We got to talk about that because we haven't talked about this on Cosmic Geppetto. Armie Hammer. I liked Armie Hammer so much.
I think the thing that annoys me so much about this situation, Hollywood kept trying to make Armie Hammer happen for so long. And then it finally happens. And then it turns out he's a and I'm just like, man, like, come on, everybody. Like everybody involved, especially him. Just what? Come on. Because do you remember when George Miller was going to make the Justice League movie? He was Batman.
He was Batman. And then every time they recast Batman since then, seems like he's come that close to getting the role again.
I'm so glad that he did not get the role this time. If I'm not mistaken, it was like literally between him and Robert Pattinson. And they ended up going with Robert Pattinson at the end of the day. And I'm so glad they made that decision because, oh my God, I'm so happy that there is not a Batman movie that I won't be able to watch. It's just frustrating at this point. And it's like, obviously, like I feel awful for all of the victims, and it's BS that there's a system in place that protects these monsters and tries to make sure that they're not caught or found out about these things that they do, because that's the thing that I've learned now that I'm working in this industry, and I know a lot of people who work in this industry, is that everyone knows about everyone. We all know, all of us, we all know who the bad people are, but you can't say anything because if you try to, that's how you lose any chance of ever having work.
No, it's not the bad people that are going to get punished.
Exactly. And this is the problem. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. That's what this results in. You know, an actor like Armie Hammer has a team of people working for him who only make money if he makes money. And if he stops making money, they stop making money. So when you come out to say that, like, oh yeah, Armie Hammer is a dick who has tortured women, I'm sorry, I'm only laughing because it's insane. Like, it's completely insane that this was allowed to happen for as long as it did. It's just allowed to go on. They're going to protect him because they're really protecting themselves, because their self-interest is tied directly to his self-interest. That's how this whole system out here works, and it's broken and it needs to be fixed, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm glad at least that when stuff like this finally happens, it seems to just in one fell swoop, we just shoot them right out the door and lock it behind them. It seems like it's happening with him. It seems to have happened with Kevin Spacey, thankfully. Like, he's gone. I mean, he makes his little Christmas Eve videos once a year, like a serial killer, but he's gone. He's not getting work anymore. And that's heartening. It shouldn't come to that. Like, the first time somebody's a dick, stop hiring them. But the problem is that, you know, there's too many people involved. There's too many cooks in that kitchen. And we need a new system in place for how this should work, because human resources, it's corporate interests. That's a huge problem, not just in Hollywood, but everywhere. It's a really problem. We need some sort of, like, I don't know, like internal investigation or something, the way that police are supposed to have internal investigators. We need something like that in place so that we can find these people sooner, so that these victims have somewhere to go, someone to tell. Instead, they have to like tell the press because it's the only place they can, and then
you're risking your career.
Yeah, you're risking your career. You're everyone. Then all of that person's fans come out of the woodwork and call you like money hungry, and you're just trying to like get money. And it's like, from where? Where do you think the money's coming from them telling these stories? Who do you think is paying them? It's bonkers. And it happened again with Armie Hammer. After the Batman time, there's the Social Network time, there's the Lone Ranger Man from U.N.C.L.E. period, and now and then they finally, on like the fourth try, they finally broke him out, and then within 2 years, it turns out he's we had so many opportunities to not let him in, and you all just couldn't help yourselves. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating that this just keeps happening, and I'm glad that we're revealing these people for who they are. I'm frustrated that they exist at all. That it keeps happening, not because I don't want the truth out there, but because like the fact that the truth is what it is. Like I just, guys, knock it off.
Like you, done it very well for a long time, but we had our first sort of Geppetto Studios had their first radio play. I got the cast together, and we actually brought someone onto the call, and I was like, hey guys, she's not a member of the cast. She is our HR director. Everyone's getting her phone number and her email address. And if anyone involved with this production does anything untoward, and I said, including me, you call her, because I don't want that crap.
Yeah.
Part of the reason is because, and I work in the local theater circles, and I know that the small amount of power you have doing community or dinner theater or something in the Harrisburg area of Pennsylvania gives people power trips. And it's like, we're not doing that here. And I wanted them to be comfortable as like, and it's like, listen, I know that it's completely possible that I joke or I say something or whatever I could do that makes you, if it does anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or I don't know what I'm saying, I want you to have someone you can go to who in turn talk to me.
Yeah.
Thank God, as far as I know, nobody ever went to her. When I hear at that level, and you're right, somebody's given so many chances and had so many failures, it would have been very easy after Lone Ranger for everyone to say, like, well, Armie Hammer isn't happening. But because he was good looking enough and a talented guy.
I don't know that talent had anything to do with it. I found out later. I didn't know this, but apparently like he's loaded, not from being an actor, like prior to being an actor. It's why he was able to have so many chances, is that he was born rich. Like his family is just.
He's from the Arm & Hammer family.
Right. He's just absolutely minted. So it just goes back to that privilege thing. So like, yeah, we could have easily just let him go. He would have been fine. He didn't have to earn any money. He could have just been rich. But I guess it also means that like, if he was just rich, then he would have been doing that stuff all the time and nobody would have cared because he wasn't even famous. There's a certain extent of like, maybe he'll actually get some comeuppance this way, but I don't know, man. The whole thing is just horrifying and annoying, systematically annoying.
But Jungle Cruise looks good.
Yeah, it sure does. Boy, does it.
Crap. Moving to August 6th. 2 movies coming out. Sequels. Hotel Transylvania 4.
I unironically love this series. I think they're way better than anyone gives them credit for. I think the trailers are like perfectly designed to be extremely off-putting because they are only trying to get kids in the door. That's the only thing they're focused on, is grabbing a kid's attention. But the movies themselves are extremely well directed. They're all done by Genndy Tartakovsky, who is the creator of Samurai Jack.
But he's not doing this one.
No, he is not doing this one. So I am very curious to see what this one is like. I have a feeling it may be the first one that I don't care for, but I love the first 3. I really, really do. They're great.
The animation's so good. Now it's Adam Sandler going back to the way they hire voice actors for these movies.
Yeah, but at least he's doing a funny voice. Like he's doing like a funny Dracula voice.
He's doing a funny Dracula voice. He's not doing too much. And if he hadn't been associated with the first one, it probably wouldn't have gotten made.
Yeah, very true.
It'll be fine. My kids really like him. And the animation's so good and so different that, it works for me.
Yeah, me too. Same.
I can't believe I'm interested in a Suicide Squad movie after what happened last time.
I just think it's so funny. Warner Brothers saw Guardians of the Galaxy and was like, we need one of those. And then they go to the writer of Training Day, the director of, Bright, for one, the director of, what was that? End of Watch, right? The director of End of Watch. And they're like, I want you to make me a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And they thought that was going to work out and force it in the edit, make arguably one of the worst comic book movies of all time. And then they're like, maybe we should just ask the Guardians of the Galaxy director if he wants to make a Suicide Squad movie. And he does it and nails it. They get exactly what they wanted from the beginning, which is Guardians of the Galaxy, but with supervillains. It really does look like they nailed it. I mean, this looks great.
The trailer looks amazing, and I have no idea what's going to happen, and I'm excited about that. It's like, okay, I know a lot of these people are going to die.
Yeah.
This great cast, a great role for John Cena.
Yes.
Because he's a weird actor to cast and stuff. Because he's an action guy, but he has a bit of comedic chops. But God, if you put him into a comedy movie, you end up with that stupid firefighter film again.
Well, but that was a kid's movie. He was really funny in Blockers.
I know there was Blockers, and there was the one with Amy Schumer that he was great in.
Yeah, he had like a bit part in that one, Trainwreck. And yeah, he's really good in Blockers. And he's honestly like hilarious in Bumblebee. He's so good in Bumblebee.
Idris Elba getting the cat stench off him. So it's going to be a really good movie, and it's going to be ridiculous. And it might turn some people off because it is an R-rated movie, and it's definitely an R-rated movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Just watching in the preview, watching Shark King rip a guy in half.
Voiced by Sylvester Stallone, which is just genius, I think.
Gunn likes Stallone.
Yeah, used him in Guardians 2.
Yeah, got a great cameo from him. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be on HBO Max, but I want to see Starro on the big screen.
Yeah, agreed. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna try and go see this one in theaters for sure.
Let me see. We're getting towards the dregs. Let me see. We got Don't Breathe 2. I'm all for Stephen Lang getting a check.
Oh man, that first one was so awful. I can't. I'm not. No way.
Free Guy?
Yeah, the thing where Ryan Reynolds is a video game character. The first trailer didn't do a lot for me because the first trailer felt like it was trying to be Lego movie, like a live action Lego movie. The later trailer, when they came out with that trailer that they were like, we are definitely opening Christmas Day. And then they pushed it back again. The whole marketing campaign was like, you can't see any movie in theaters except Free Guy, which you'll definitely see in theaters. And then they pushed it back again. But that trailer looked like a lot of fun. Like it actually set up more like what the plot of it is. And I was a lot more interested after that second trailer. And it seems like Ryan Reynolds still kind of doing his Ryan Reynolds thing, but it does seem like he's at least playing a character in this one, which I guess is ironic considering like he's literally supposed to be like an NPC. Yeah, I don't know. And underrated part of this movie, we get a Green Lantern reunion in the form of Ryan Reynolds and Taika Waititi in a movie together.
Did you see Ryan Reynolds finally watched Green Lantern?
Yeah, and he was like, that wasn't that bad. Why are you guys all complaining about it so much? And I'm like, you know what, Ryan Reynolds, you're right. The movie wasn't that bad. It's certainly not as bad as everyone says it is. It's just the CGI looks unfinished. That's really the biggest complaint that I have about it, is that I think the CGI looks unfinished, and I think that they should have went with CGI for Hector Hammond instead of makeup, because the makeup is not good. Beyond that, I don't think there's anything wrong with the script. I think the script was fine. It was the execution of the script that was not that great.
Problem is, Green Lantern they were trying to make that the DC Universe's Iron Man.
That was a mistake. Because it shouldn't be the DC Universe's Iron Man. It should be the DC Universe's Star Wars.
Yeah, it should be a space opera. It shouldn't be the one introducing you to this new world. There was too much.
Well, my feeling is the way that you do a Green Lantern movie is you start with Kyle Rayner, where the Green Lantern Corps is dead and gone, and he is given the last Green Lantern ring and has to figure it out on his own, and finds out all of that exposition about the Green Lantern Corps and all of that through learning how to become the only Green Lantern. And then you make a trilogy about him restarting the Corps. That's how you do a Green Lantern movie. You don't just start with like, here's all this exposition. The Green Lantern is such a weird concept and like weird world, and requires so much information that doing it any way other than the way I described, I think is always going to come off as like stiff and awkward. I think that's why that movie, it largely is the way that it is. Also, making Parallax the villain of the first film, that was a mistake. It should have been like, I don't know, some kind of space villain, maybe the Manhunters.
Or Sinestro.
I do like what they were doing with Sinestro, that they were like holding off, though. I did like that they were holding off on Sinestro until the second film. I think that was the right choice. But I think Manhunters would have made sense. Hal Jordan proving his worth to the Lantern Corps by being the only Lantern to be able to defeat a Manhunter. And they're like, oh, maybe there's something to these humans. Or there's a world where that works. I think Hector Hammond should have stayed in the comics. I don't think he had any business being adapted into a movie. It's a dude with a giant head. I don't know why anyone thought that was a good idea. Apparently the person who had that idea, turns out he's kind of a as well, like Armie Hammer. So what are you going to do?
It's also one of those things where that movie, it became so easy for it to become a punchline. It didn't lose that much money. It wasn't that much of a bomb. It wasn't that bad a movie. But having it being an okay movie that almost or didn't quite make its money back isn't as good a punchline. That same day, and I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but the movie Respect comes out. It's about Aretha Franklin.
Oh, okay.
Jennifer Hudson stars in it, and she's a great singer and a good actress. I know the Franklin family isn't happy about the movie.
Oh, that means it might be good.
Yeah.
It means it might be like actually interesting and not a puff piece.
That's always a funny thing when they come out with that. It's like, okay, who's directing it? Is it just going to be completely trying to make the estate happy? I know not that long ago when they announced that Madonna was directing the Madonna movie, is like, well, there's no way that's going to be interesting at all.
I'm interested in that movie only because that's never happened before. No one has ever directed their own biopic before. So I'm interested in it as like a thing that's never happened before. I don't think that the movie is going to be good, but I am interested to see it, if that makes sense.
Have you ever seen a Madonna directed movie before?
I didn't know she's ever directed a movie before.
She did one about the guy who married an American divorcee and gave up the crown.
Oh.
Which I think got pretty mediocre reviews. So she has directed before.
Oh, yeah. Looks like she directed like a few of her own music videos as well.
Yeah, which there's something to that.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going to skip what else we got here. Paw Patrol movie.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Paw Patrol?
No.
Okay.
Reminisce looks like it could be cool. Written and directed by Lisa Joy, one of the showrunners of Westworld. Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson, Tandy Newton, Cliff Curtis. I mean, some cool people. It has a, I guess it's about memories. It kind of looks like it has a bit of a Inception kind of vibe to it. Could be cool. Theoretically.
Hugh Jackman, his career is in a weird place where he's sort of the first actor you think of when you're going to do a movie musical because he's had success with it.
Yeah.
He doesn't really do action stuff anymore. He's not going to be Wolverine any longer. His career's been sort of hit or miss when not either as Wolverine or doing a musical.
I think he's just at a place where he could probably get by never working again. He's in that place because he's had such a successful career as Wolverine, where he's going to get residuals on those movies forever. He could probably just live off of that forever and be fine. I think he's doing a thing where he's just gonna be in movies that he finds interesting, or plays a role that he finds interesting. And I don't think he's chasing anything other than having a good time.
He was great in Bad Education.
God, Bad Education rules. That was my second favorite movie of last year. I loved Bad Education. So good.
You're right. He doesn't chase being a movie star. I mean, I guess the last time he really did that was when he did Van Helsing, and yeesh.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always done the Wolverine stuff, but this is a guy who took a year off from doing movies at the height of his career to do The Boy from Oz, to do a Broadway show.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's gone back to Broadway several times. So it's just interesting because, God, he's such a likable guy. He's a really good actor, but just watch what he does next. Yeah, he's not going to go. He's not going to try to replace Daniel Craig as Bond. I don't think he's going to do another Wolverine thing. You know, there's always that thing, never say never. And I know once upon a time, he's like, when Logan came out, he would talk every now and then about that. The only thing he would be interested in is if there was a way that Wolverine could join Marvel, but I don't see it.
Right.
Candyman comes out that same day, the 27th, and that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this. It's co-written by Jordan Peele, which is more than I can say about a lot of the stuff that he's produced. I have not been impressed by, I think, anything he's been a producer on, because I think that he is a very specific, he is extremely talented. The films that he directed are really great, but I think that it reminds me of like a lot of the stuff that J.J. Abrams would produce. It just became a point where if you're not careful, I think that a lot of these guys just start producing all of their friends' stuff, and then it's like law of diminishing returns, or like Spielberg, where it's like Spielberg produces the Transformers movies. You know, that first one was like from Steven Spielberg, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, he got cachet from his directing, and you have a period of time where you're so white hot, you can put your name on anything. So why not cash the check and produce your friend's stuff? But you're right. Eventually, J. Abrams, he produced some really good TV shows, and then they became less and less interesting, and you could tell he was less and less involved with it.
Yeah. So I'm excited that Jordan Peele seems directly involved in this one. So, it's co-written by him and Nia DaCosta. And I'm excited to see this film from Nia DaCosta because she's directing Captain Marvel 2. There's an aspect of it that ties into my favorite franchise stuff, as the superhero stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what her point of view is on this character. I really loved that trailer that we got like a year and a half ago. I'm hoping that her point of view and her prowess as a director translates to Captain Marvel 2, so that we don't get something that is just sort of really middle of the road like the first Captain Marvel. I'm hoping that we get something that really elevates to another level in the sequel. I'll be really curious what Nia DaCosta's Candyman looks like.
Well, I'm really hoping with Captain Marvel 2 that Captain Marvel 2 is to the first film what Winter Soldier was to First Avenger, where I thought Captain Marvel was a completely fine starting point, and there was a couple, the cat was fun and all that, but at the end of the day, it was like just an okay movie that introduced a character, and with the right director, because I think Brie Larson has so much more to give.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. It felt a little on rails, like they were afraid to do anything crazy because it was their first female lead movie. And it was almost like they were afraid to let her be a full-blown character. She just rode the rails the whole movie. And so, yeah, I'm absolutely, I agree. I hope that we get a lot more of her character. We explore her a lot more in the sequel, because I think that's what's going to make it interesting, because Captain Marvel is so powerful. She's kind of like Superman, where it's like, if you're not on board for Clark Kent, the Superman part of this isn't going to be that interesting to you, because it's not. That's not where the struggle from a good Superman story comes from. It comes from the Clark side of things, not the Superman side of things. I'm hoping that we get a lot more of her character in this sequel. We have somebody to really root for, and not just, someone that we're, I guess, rooting for just because they are the lead of the movie. They're the protagonist, and so you just kind of feel like you're on rails.
Yeah, you don't want to just sit around in a movie just so the hope that somebody punches Jude Law eventually.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. We all are excited when Jude Law gets punched. All right. Scott, what have I missed? Is there anything this summer that I didn't touch on that you're looking forward to?
I mean, the only thing that I want to point out is just before the start of summer, right there on the edge, like literally a day before, on April 30th, is The Mitchells versus the Machines, which is an animated film from Sony Pictures Animation that is coming from the same production house as it's like Lord and Miller's animation. So they are producing it just like they produced Spider-Verse. And this is their new thing, and it's coming. It was called Connected last year when it was going to be released in theaters, and now that Netflix bought it, they allowed them to revert the title back to its original title, which is The Mitchells versus the Machines. It just looks really great. The animation looks incredible. I'm really, really looking forward to this. It hits Netflix on April 30th. So that's kind of the start of the summer movie season for me.
Let me see. Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph. Looks great. Eric Andre. It was always fun when they find a place for Eric Andre.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has such a weird personality, and Doug the Pug, so my kids will be excited. Scott, tell us what's going on at Dueling Genre. There was some big changes that were coming up when last we spoke.
We've launched all of our shows, the last of which was Franchisography, which is my new show. With my Back to the Future Minute and Cornetto Minute co-host Nick Jimenez, and that is premiering April 9th. Franchisography is a podcast about film franchises. We sort of dig deep into Hollywood's biggest film franchises and talk about the story behind the scenes, how they were made, the decisions that went into that. We just try to build a sort of behind the scenes narrative of how we got the movies that we got, using lots of material that we do research for and everything. Our first miniseries is on the Men in Black franchise. Our first episode is Men in Black. And our first guest is Zach Luna, my Spider-Man Minute co-host. So it's a whole reunion in that first episode. And yeah, we just, we dig into all of these franchises, and I'm really excited about that. Our first miniseries is the Men in Black. Our second miniseries is on the Scream franchise, and our third, like our big summer blockbuster miniseries, is going to be on the X-Men franchise, the whole Fox franchise from the first X-Men all the way to New Mutants. So we're including all of the spin-offs in there as well, including the Wolverine movies and the Deadpool movies. Really, really looking forward to that show finally coming out. We've been really working hard on it behind the scenes, and it's been a lot of fun. So check that out. Subscribe to it if you want. Call Franchisography. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts.
That's such a great idea. And we're in a world in entertainment where franchises are such a big part of what we watch. And it's changed so much. And we talked a little bit about Fast and Furious. And that franchise changed so much from the beginning, where the first movie they were trying to steal TV VCR combos. And now they're like super secret agents. The stars have gotten bigger and the budgets have gotten bigger. And that didn't used to happen. When you like look at the Superman, the original Christopher Reeve Superman, where by the time they got to the third or fourth movie, the budget was like cut down to a fourth, and you just expected subsequent movies to get cheaper and worse. So I'm really excited for that show. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's funny you mentioned Fast and the Furious, because that was sort of the impetus behind the show. Is Nick and I on the Dueling Genre Patreon, we covered all of the Fast and Furious movies because I had never seen them before. So it was me watching them for the first time, and then Nick sort of explaining some of the behind the scenes stuff from it. we did that on our Patreon, and then Nick was like, maybe this is what the show is next. And I was like, a Fast and the Furious podcast? And he was like, no, the idea of like digging into franchises like we did this one, only we're both watching them and doing the research and everything. Yeah, it's a really good idea. And all of the franchises that we're covering are being decided by our Twitter followers and our Patreon supporters. So we've got like a really cool kind of bracket process to figure out what our next franchise is going to be each time. And I'm just really looking forward to the show coming out. It really does feel like a graduation of sorts from the movies by minute format.
All right, very cool. I recommend everyone check that out. Anything else to plug?
I mean, you can check out my other shows, The Doctor's Companion. If you haven't checked out Geek by Night, make sure that you check that out. We're working on the final batch of episodes that'll be launching in June of this year. So really looking forward to that. So now is the time to catch up on everything that you've missed. If you've never checked out Geek by Night, it's a superhero comedy show. And I say comedy, but there's also drama in there as well. I hate using this comparison now because, again, we've talked a lot about monsters on today's show because they're everywhere. But the idea was that it was meant to be kind of Buffy-esque, like a Buffy, but for superheroes. And unfortunately, it's not a great comparison anymore. But it is what it is. I'm not Joss Whedon, so that's a plus, right?
I know that hurts so much because you and I are both Whedon fans, and I want to be excited about the Nevers, and it's like I can't even watch it. Can I watch this now?
I know. It's really a bummer, but it is what it is. I'm glad I'm glad it's out. That's good. I'm glad it's not being hidden under the rug anymore. In any event, check out Geek by Night, please. Check out Geek by Night. I think if you like Cosmic Geppetto, I think you'll really like Geek by Night.
Definitely, it's a great show, and you guys do amazing work. All right, Scott, you sort of brought it up, and it's the last question. I'm going to let you go because we've been doing this for a while tonight.
Uh-huh.
Will Joss Whedon ever do another TV show or movie? Are we ever going to see him? Is he ever going to produce anything ever again?
No, I truly believe the answer is no. I think it's too much has come out about him. You might get a few soft starts the way Bryan Singer with Red Sonja movie, where they announced the Red Sonja movie and then there's a huge backlash and then they're announced like LOL JK. We have another director who's going to do it actually. Maybe something like that, but I don't think we'll actually see anything produced by him. And the thing is, like, even in comics, the areas where he would be able to get something published, those people always hated him for his feminist ideals. And I use feminist air quotes, his outwardly feminist ideals. I don't think they would even hire him to like write comics. So I think he is just donezo. I think it's over. I think what we'll end up with, though, if I had to guess, he will do uncredited rewrites on stuff all the time. He'll just go back to being a script doctor like he was back in the 90s, pre-Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That would be my guess. These people, they don't usually go away. They just stop being credited. And I think that's what will happen with him.
God.
Yeah.
Because he was the good guy.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
All right. Well, on that happy note.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, though. This was, despite a few serious conversations, this was a lot of fun. And I think they were good conversations, even if they weren't super fun. But I think they were good.
Scott, it's always great to have you on. If I could do it, I would have you on every week. We only have a handful of annual shows that we do. I'm always so excited for this one. And, we'll do this again next year. And hopefully we won't be talking about Fast and Furious 9 again.
God, wouldn't it be great if there's not one repeat in the next one?
That wraps episode 234. Big thanks to Scott Carelli of Dueling Genre Productions. A great guy who knows his movie stuff better than anyone. Also, big thanks to Heather and Ellen. It's great to have a different perspective, and they are both awesome. Next time on the Cosmic Geppetto podcast, fan favorite Thaddeus House, the Answer Man, returns to discuss Falcon and Winter Soldier, and many other things. Till then, in the words of Jarf Hart,
see you in the funny pages.
Subscribe to the Cosmic Geppetto podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever quality podcasts can be found. Rate and review us while there. Follow us on Twitter at CosmicGPod, and we will follow you back. Unless you're a jerk. We don't follow jerks. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cosmic Geppetto. We love hearing your ideas for upcoming episodes. Email us at cosmicgeppetto@comcast.net.
all lands at the feet of Maleficent. Okay, can you say the word? Because I'm dying here.